Now, this is very important. You cannot set healthy boundaries if you don't know what you need. Boundaries start with knowing what drains you and what fills you. Hi, family. Welcome back to If Only One Overcomes. I'm your host, Katie Lee, and I'm so glad you're here. If you are new, this podcast is all about overcoming, healing, and reclaiming your life after trauma. Last week, we talked about self-worth and how trauma tries to steal our confidence. Today, we're taking it a step further by talking about boundaries, how to set them, how to maintain them, and how they protect our peace. So what are boundaries, and why do we need them? Boundaries are the personal limits we create to protect our emotions, physical, and mental space. Think of them like fences, not to keep everyone out, but to protect what's inside. Boundaries help us preserve energy, clarify expectations, and prevent burnouts and emotional harm. Now let's discuss how trauma affects our boundaries. If you've experienced abuse, neglect, betrayal, or abandonment, you may have learned that your needs didn't matter, or even worse, that speaking up was dangerous. People-pleasing, over-explaining, and emotional exhaustion can stem from early boundary violations. Fear of rejection, conflict, and not being enough can stop us from setting limits to protect our peace. Let's take a look at two biblical perspectives on boundaries. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Even Jesus modeled healthy boundaries. He withdrew from crowds to rest and pray. Luke 5:16. He said no to demands. John 6:15. He didn't allow people's expectation to override his mission. Mark 1:36-38. He was compassionate but not codependent. And here's another truth. Boundaries are not unkind. They are an act of love for yourself and others. So how do we set and maintain healthy boundaries? 1. We have to recognize our need. Now, this is very important. You cannot set healthy boundaries if you don't know what you need. Boundaries start with knowing what drains you and what fills you. Take inventory of what energizes you and what drains you. What makes you uncomfortable? What makes you feel safe? Pay attention to your emotional responses. Discomfort is often a signal that a boundary is needed. Ask yourself, what situation leaves me feeling exhausted and resentful? Where in my life am I constantly overextending? 2. Give yourself permission to say no. Saying no isn't rejection. Your peace matters. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. No is a complete sentence. Remember, saying no to others is sometimes saying yes to yourself and to God's plan for your healing. 3. Set boundaries with toxic and unsafe people. Learn to recognize red flags. The guilt-tripping, manipulation, gaslighting, or disrespect. Prepare for pushback. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will resist new ones. You're not responsible for their discomfort. You're responsible for your healing. Proverbs 22:24-25. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. 4. Practice clean, kind, boundary-setting statements. You don't need to argue. You can communicate with clarity and grace. Here are a few statements you can use. I cannot commit to that right now. That doesn't work for me. I'm not comfortable discussing that. I need time to process before responding. Please don't speak to me that way. And here's a bonus tip. You can practice these statements in a mirror or journal them so that they can feel natural when the time comes. Well, overcomers, we are at the end. This week, I challenge you to set one boundary, big or small. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you or taking time for yourself without guilt. Next week, we're talking about overcoming guilt and shame after trauma. It's time to break free from what's holding you back. Now, if today's episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or connect with me on social media at If Only One Overcomes. I would love to hear from you. And as always, remember, your life is too important because God has a plan and a purpose for your life. Until the next episode, God bless.